There are rising concerns tonight that Amnesty compromise could threaten national sovereignty and security as well, opening our borders, if it's possible, even further with Mexico and Canada. Those fears part of wider concerns the Bush administration is hell-bent on creating a North American Union without the consent of the American people, our Congress, or our neighbors to the north or south. Lisa Sylvester reports.
The faces were almost identical. The same crowd that pushed last year's immigration bill, Kennedy, McCain, and Specter, were announcing a new bill. This time they had Republican Jon Kyl. Like last year, they called it fair legislation.
This is a balanced bill, and I believe it is fair to the best interests of the United States of America.
Senators were congratulating each other on a bill that few have actually seen. The language was written by staffers in the dead of night. Lawmakers are expected to read, study the implications, and vote by next week.
There will be 3 days or so to review the language, and it will be very long, very loophole-ridden.
Last year's Senate bill was more than 600 pages long. It included provisions that were not made public until after the vote. One section called for a common security perimeter for North America and to explore ways to waive visa requirements for Canada, Mexico, and the United States. These are underlying provisions of a proposed North American Union. Representative Virgil Goode worries similar language may be in this year's bill.
It's a destruction of our sovereignty. We're turning over more to Canada and Mexico, and I do not like that.
One thing that is in this year's proposed legislation, the DREAM Act. That allows illegal aliens to receive in-state tuition, even though U.S. citizens who live out of state do not receive this benefit.
Many Republican lawmakers are just not happy with this bill. They haven't seen the final language yet, but they're worried that there may be other surprises in this bill. For example, last year there was a section that, instead of giving local law enforcement more authority to enforce immigration law, actually weakened their authority. Lou?
Well, Lisa, Andrea Copeland reporting on this was suitably constrained and tight-lipped, as I suggested. Some of the it seems apparent mindlessness associated with this compromise. As best we know some of the details. Of course, no one in the Senate or the House, for that matter, knows the full deal, other than those people involved in the actual compromise. What is there abroad on Capitol Hill that makes anyone in the Senate, let's leave the White House aside for right now, but in the Senate or the House, that thinks this is an appropriate way to do business, not even including fellow senators or fellow congressmen and women in knowledge about legislation that they would like to move through, according to Senator Harry Reid, the majority leader, by the middle of next week?
I've heard Lou making rounds of calls today, words like irresponsible, that this is not even practical, that you've got something that could easily be 1,000 pages that they are expected to vote on next week. It's essentially asking Congress, members of the Senate, to sign their name to a bill that they have not had a chance to read.
Lisa, thank you very much. Lisa Sylvester from Capitol Hill. We've just